In the ever-evolving theater of professional boxing, where styles clash like civilizations and legends are written in sweat and scar tissue, two names are carving their place in the sport's modern mythology: Naoya, the monster, Inoue, and Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez. These two undefeated fighters, separated by geography, style, and weight divisions, are closing in on each other with a momentum that feels destined. One is the embodiment of stoic devastation, a quiet technician from Japan who turns every fight into a showcase of ruthless precision. The other is a vibrant whirlwind from Texas, youthful, relentless, and loaded with purpose. Together, they symbolize a generational shift, a quiet but undeniable changing of the guard. Naoya Inoue's reputation needs little embellishment. Born in Zama, Kanagawa, Inoue grew into boxing not as a brawler, but as a scholar of destruction. He carries himself like a man at peace with violence, a soft-spoken force of nature whose fists do the speaking. By 2024, he had already become a four-division world champion, reigning as the undisputed super bantamweight king. His accolades were numerous, but the reverence for him in Japan bordered on religious. When he fought, the country tuned in. When he won, it felt like a national holiday. His defining moment in 2024 came against Luis Neri, a Mexican fighter whose name had long provoked bitterness in Japanese boxing circles. Years earlier, Neri had twice defeated and humiliated the beloved Japanese champion Shinsuke Yamanaka, doing so with controversy clouding his name, first for failing a drug test, then for missing weight. Those transgressions had not been forgotten. So when the matchup between Neri and Inoue was announced, the anticipation went beyond titles or rankings. It was personal, both for Inoue and for an entire nation. The Tokyo Dome brimmed with over 55,000 fans the night of the fight. The atmosphere was both electric and solemn, as if the crowd was holding its collective breath. Millions more watched from their homes across Japan, waiting for their champion to avenge a national wound. Neri entered with a record of 35 wins and only one loss. Dangerous, explosive, and unapologetic, he was perhaps the most feared southpaw in the division. His left hook had made careers end early and dreams collapse in real time. But what unfolded next stunned everyone, and the very first round, Inoue, typically the one dishing out early punishment, was dropped by a thunderous left hook. It was the first time in his career that he had ever touched the canvas. For a moment, the Tokyo Dome froze. Their hero, their monster, was down. But champions are not defined by how many times they fall. They are defined by how they respond when the lights flicker and the crowd gasps. Inoue responded not with panic, but with fury. He stood up and engaged Neri with a type of ferocity that few had ever seen from him. The next few rounds became a case study in how a great fighter adapts and overwhelms. Inoue's punches became sharper, his timing even more exact. He began dissecting Neri piece by piece, breaking his rhythm, punishing his body, and gradually stealing his soul. By round 3, the Mexican fighter was visibly unraveling. By round 5, Inoue sent him to the canvas for the second time, this time with a short left hook that was as cruel as it was elegant. Then came the finishing sequence. Against the ropes, Neri had nowhere to run. Inoue delivered a precise uppercut followed by a sweeping right hand that ended the bout decisively. The crowd erupted. The arena had gone from panic to jubilation in the span of a few rounds. Inoue had not only survived a scare, he had flipped it on its head and turned it into one of the most complete performances of his career. Later, Inoue would confess that Neri's history of cheating had fueled his fire. He didn't just want to win. He wanted to dominate. And he did. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez was assembling a resume of his own that could not be ignored. At just 24 years old, Bam had quickly become one of the most talked-about talents in boxing. He had flair, he had timing, and most of all, he had courage. After making history as one of the youngest active champions in the lower weight divisions, he turned his attention toward proving that he belonged among the elite, not just in skill, but in legacy. The big test came against Juan Francisco Estrada, a revered Mexican champion with 44 wins and 4 losses, all avenged. Estrada wasn't just a legend. He was a blueprint for what a Mexican warrior should look like in the ring. 4 years, no one had come close to stopping him. He was too experienced, too smart, and too tough. But Bam wasn't interested in reputations. From the opening bell, Rodriguez took control. His movement baffled Estrada. His combinations forced the older fighter to react rather than initiate. Estrada landed his shots, but Rodriguez was dictating the pace. By the 4th round, Rodriguez landed a beautiful straight left hand that dropped Estrada. The punch was a technical masterpiece. He had positioned his lead foot on the outside of Estrada's, rotated his hips perfectly, and fired a laser-like shot that landed flush. It wasn't just a knockdown, it was a statement. Estrada rose and continued, and even had a brief resurgence in the 6th round, catching Bam with a sneaky right that reminded everyone that legends don't fade easily. But Rodriguez adjusted and, in the 7th round, delivered the final blow. Channeling every bit of leverage and timing he could muster, Bam landed a devastating liver shot that made Estrada crumble. The reaction wasn't theatrical, it was involuntary. Estrada felt like a tower collapsing, his body unwilling to obey him. It was over. The man many thought was invincible had been stopped by a 24-year-old. The boxing world took notice. Rodriguez had not only defeated a legend, he had retired him. That win propelled Rodriguez into the top 5 of nearly every pound-for-pound list. But Bam wasn't done. He returned to action looking to unify the flyweight division, this time targeting Sonny Edwards, the slick, brash British champion known for his footwork, elusiveness, and endless pre-fight trash talk. Edwards questioned Rodriguez's accomplishments, mocked his youth, and predicted a boxing lesson. Bam's response? A silent stare and a promise to let his fists do the work. In the first couple of rounds, Edwards had his moments. His movement was fluid, his jab sharp, and his distance management exceptional. But Rodriguez closed the gap quickly. In the 2nd round, he began to chip away at Edwards' movement, backing him into corners and going to the body with cruel consistency. A cut opened over Edwards' eye in the 5th, and with it came a shift in momentum. The master of movement had suddenly become stationary. From the middle rounds onward, it was all Rodriguez. He cornered Edwards, pounded him in the body and head, and dismantled his defenses with precision. By the 10th round, Edwards was barely throwing. He was surviving, not competing. Then came the 11th. A straight left from Rodriguez sent Edwards crashing face-first into the canvas. He had never been down before. That punch shattered not only Edwards' body but also his aura of invincibility. His corner stopped the fight shortly after. Later, Edwards revealed that he had suffered a fractured orbital bone earlier in the bout, which blurred his vision and made him an easy target for Bam's relentless assault. Rodriguez had now taken out 2 of the best names in his weight class, both champions, both previously considered among the most difficult puzzles to solve. But as he climbed the pound-for-pound ranks, the whispers began. Would Bam move up? Would he chase greatness into the heavier divisions? And standing at the end of that road was none other than Naoya Inoue. If this fight is made, it would be the lower weight division's version of Ali versus Frazier or Leonard versus Duran. Inoue, the surgical killer, against Rodriguez, the aggressive virtuoso. Both fighters are similar in stature. Inoue stands at 5 feet 5 inches with a 67.5-inch reach, while Rodriguez is 5 feet 4 inches with a 67-inch reach. On paper, they are practically equals. But in the ring, the differences in style are striking. Inoue fights like a ghost. He vanishes, then reappears in front of his opponent with terrifying speed and precision. His punches come in combinations, delivered with eerie calm and calculated violence. Rodriguez, by contrast, is chaos-controlled. He moves constantly, bounces in and out of range, and throws shots from angles that don't seem to exist until they land. He is energy, youth, and relentless adaptation. For the fight to happen, Rodriguez will need to move up not one, but 2 weight divisions. That's a significant leap, and it raises important questions. Can he carry his power up? Will his speed translate against bigger opponents? And can he absorb the kind of punishment that fighters like Inoue deliver with frightening regularity? For Inoue, a victory would cement his place as perhaps the greatest lower-weight fighter of the modern era. For Rodriguez, it would be the defining triumph of a young career that's already becoming historic. The stakes are enormous. The potential clash would not just be for belts or rankings, it would be for legacy. Boxing, at its best, is a narrative. It's a drama with arcs, conflicts, and climaxes. Inoue and Rodriguez are characters on a collision course. They have taken different paths, faced different tests, and earned their stripes in different rings. But destiny doesn't care about geography or history. It only cares about timing. And right now, the timing is perfect. If they meet in 2025, the bout could become one of the most iconic in recent memory. Not because of animosity or promotion, but because of what it represents. 2 undefeated, prime, pound-for-pound elites from different corners of the world daring to test themselves. It would be a gift to boxing. It would be the kind of fight that tells us more than just who's better. It would tell us who's greater as the year progresses. Fans, promoters, and even other fighters are watching closely. The chatter is increasing. The pressure is mounting. And somewhere, in a quiet gym in Japan and a bustling one in Texas, 2 fighters are preparing. Not just for the next fight, but for the fight. They know what's coming, and we do too.